Many American Christians may not realize the extent of the ideological influence exerted or utilized by the international aid organizations like USAID. Last year, the pastor of the largest church in Chile spoke at the Lake Puente in Esplanade, and he shared how Chilean public schools had aggressively begun promoting LGBT ideology despite the country's deep traditional values. The reason: Chile feared losing US aid funding if they didn't comply. Have you ever wondered why many Nigerian feminists strongly oppose the closure of USAID funding in Africa? Don't let anyone deceive you. It's not about their concern for HIV patients, but because USAID heavily funds feminist NGOs in Nigeria. These ideological NGOs were financed to create social divisions rather than real progress, causing ideological chaos instead of fostering economic and educational development. And it's anti-working and anti-educational propaganda for the old divide and conquer. USAID-backed organizations often promote divisive narratives that weakens societal structures. Africa doesn't need Marxism or radical feminism like the rest of the world. What Africa needs is quality education and capitalism systems that rewards hard work, innovation, and family stability. That is what Africa needs. Ironically, USAID literally flood these NGOs with money to sabotage the African development, but argue that NGOs like these are essential. They also finance radical religious groups, further destabilizing communities. Meanwhile, politicians loot, activists chase foreign grants, and businesses prioritize short-term gains over national development with no long-term vision and no true nation building. The looting of America is a massive industry, and we Africans, we are not a beneficiary, we are a victim. A recent study of 33 African nations found that over $1 trillion has been lost to capital flights since the 1970s, and $640 billion from just 16 Commonwealth countries. These losses dwarf their combined external debts of $190 billion. And meanwhile, major banks have been caught laundering money and offshore tax havens. Many under the City of London's jurisdiction continue to siphon wealth from developing nations. According to the Columbia Journalism Review, USAID supported 6,200 journalists, 707 news outlets, and 279 media sector and civil society organizations in 30 different countries. USAID sent $4.2 billion in total grants to miscellaneous foreign awardees, as seen in the image. Under President Joe Biden alone, most of them at least have descriptions unlike those above, and sometimes they even have countries named but no name or addresses. Here is a screenshot of the list of all USAID grants over the last 4 years that went into groups whose names and locations were completely withheld. They are all listed as miscellaneous foreign awardees. The final total is $4.2 billion. The data was originally exported from USA spending on December 17, 2024. The question now is, why did the USAID give $68+ million to the World Economic Forum? Because USAID claims to be local, but its initiatives raises serious questions. For example, $824 million in funding isn't pocket change. So where is all this money going? Perhaps the most troubling revelation yet is that the USAID is even funding the BBC, and also USAID spent millions of dollars on cloud seeding. The recent findings have revealed some of the most astonishing cases of the US spending. Evidence suggests that USAID was actively funding both gain of function research at Wuhan Institute of Virology and Smartmatic Election Systems. This raises serious questions. Does this mean that the USAID was simultaneously funding both the election rigging technology that stole 2020 elections and while also fund research that led to the development of a potentially weaponized virus? Why? The one that conveniently shifted global attention away from election concerns. I don't get it. Manufacturing and releasing a weaponized virus that would distract the world from the theft of the said election, right? The implications of these revelations warrant further scrutiny and transparency.